Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the beautiful, beautiful WCS here live, brought to you by Partners Promoting Darts. I'm Sean Green, joined by my partner in comms this evening, Mr. Nick Darachi Teixeira. Nick, last week was so much fun. It was so cool to see these ladies playing singles and also dominating dominating performance from both players. Go to last leg decider. I'm expecting fireworks tonight, buddy. How about you?
Oh, it's going to be an amazing showing here, and here's why. Laine Lyzak was confident as ever in her interview. She was ready. She was feeling like, hey, you know what? Week 1 was a tight-knit race, but I got more in the tank. Meradith McGee, a veteran of the sport, one of the top in the game, really. It's going to be an exciting showdown where really anything can happen.
Is Murph healthy, first and foremost?
No, mentally, physically, I love you, Murph. No, her hand got injured during the walk-ons over at TOC, where she did a prop fall that ended up being an actual fall that ended up being a fractured hand. And the only way to fix it, because the way it was fractured, is through surgery, which she opted not to get. She's going to be wearing 2 compression gloves, and she's going to have a full-on wrist wrap tonight.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. I'm about to quit darts. Did you just tell me that Meradith averaged a 4.06 last week with a broken, fractured hand that hasn't been healed properly whatsoever?
No, she didn't. She averaged a 4.09 with a fractured hand that hasn't been fixed. That is incredible.
Yeah, that's stupid. That's what it is. That's absolutely stupid. I love her to death, but I hate her so much. You know what I'm saying? Listen, it's going to be a great battle tonight. I'm excited to see Laine. I'm excited to see like the growth that she's had from last season to this season. Without Soldier this time is a bit of a different scenario, but she did seem really confident in her interview, and I'm really excited to see how she performs against arguably the better player this evening.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and get into the tail of the tape with Laine Lyzak, the Blue Bonnets from Star City Amusement, playing at a Lone Star Ice House. Been playing for about 11 plus years. Average a 3.12 MPR with a 53.3% win rate, where that match went the distance against Fancy Pants Phillips, Jillian Phillips, that is, where there was a 0.01 separation at the end of that match. Throwing shot tribal weapon Savages, 18 grams there, and the Houstonian's going to be playing with something to prove tonight.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I love the Blue Bonnet moniker, by the way. It is blue, and then there's a space in between blue and bonnet, but that's all right. I gave it to her. That's why I'm being all correcting about it. Listen, I think that she's going to be in for a tough test tonight, if I'm being honest with you. She did beat Jillian Phillips in that last leg decider. However, I want to point out that she lost the 3 legs prior to that last leg decider to get to that point. And in those 3 legs, her highest average was a 2.36. She's got to be better than that tonight overall, because Murph's lowest average in a leg last week was a 3.30, which is higher than the average that Laine's even coming in with. So she's going to have to play better. Do I think that she can? Absolutely, I do. You never count out Houstonians, that's for sure. And especially one as talented and as gifted as Laine Lyzak.
I would like to point out Blue Bonnet is a singular word when you're referring to the flower. I just want to point that out because I Googled it before making this bio. I want everyone to know
I love you so much. I love you so much.
Anyways, hey, let us know about our friend Murph over here.
I will. How about Murph? Playing for C&M Darts at a Trick Shots Metro West. She's been playing for a lifetime, 35 years, which is almost my lifetime. Average is a 4.09 heading into this. She's actually one of 3 players that average over a 4.0 in week 1. I have to give you props real quick. Shay Cole, who you made a point to talk about last week about being the favorite, even though Chrissy, whatever. Shay Cole averaged a 4.59 and was the highest average by quite a bit in week 1. And I know for a fact she won week 2 7-0 already this evening. So she's going to be in that top 4 match on the winner side against the winner of this one. Is it going to be Meradith McGee, who averaged a 4.09. Chrissy Grimmel also averaged a 4.23 last week. But it's going to be a great matchup. Throwing those super darts, Meradith McGee, 18-gram darts with an 80% win rate. Heading into this, she has 2 9 marks with a white horse, 5 7 marks, and 18 5 marks in 9 games played. Laine had 4 9 marks last week. 4 7 marks and 17 5 marks in 13 games played. So we might see some booms tonight, buddy.
I certainly hope we do, as I made that fancy 9-mark counter for a reason, folks, as this should be a great matchup. I really think the stat sheet's lying about Laine tonight, and I think she's going to really come out swinging. I think she's going to challenge Murph, and Murph admittedly said she's nervous for tonight. She's nervous to play singles on stream after being one of the biggest advocates for it to be singles as well. I told her, I was like, it's another match, but her ADHD comes into play, she says, when it comes to the long format.
I could definitely see that happening. I know for a fact that that's definitely something that I deal with from time to time, where we all have those like off legs later on down the line in a match because you've just been playing for so long. But let's go through the format here. If you've never watched before, first of all, welcome. It's only you, so you're still here in plenty of time. But go ahead and hit that like button, hit that share button. It's double elimination style tournament. Players play race to 7, best of 13 legs, all cricket with a cork or 3-dart count up to start that match. That's what you're seeing right now. The loser of the previous leg will start the next leg after that. And if either team is down 3 or more legs, they will continue to go first until that deficit is reduced to 2 legs. So that is the PPD player advantage rule. And if we go the distance,
and we go for speed.
Will was better than that. Players will cork for start in the last leg decider. I miss Will. I never thought I'd say that. I miss Will already.
Don't be a hater.
Well, it's hard to be a lover when you mess up my intro like that. I'm just kidding. $2,500 to first place, Nick Teixeira. $1,500 to second place, Nick Teixeira. A lot of money to play for. One of these two players are going to be on the winner side still in that top 4 match against Shay Cole in a couple weeks. Who do you got? What's the final score?
Of tonight's match, it's going to be close.
Yes.
Sorry, I was working on something in the background there. I lost my train of thought there for a second. Of course, it's tonight's match. What am I talking about? As it's going to be probably still favoring Meradith. I don't think, even though it's a 1 mark distribution average almost in NPR, I'm going to have to say it's a little bit closer than how it seems. I would have to chalk this to somewhere around a 7-5 win for Murph.
I think that's. I think that it's somewhere around there. I think Laine can win. I don't want to make that statement make this next statement without saying that. She absolutely can win. And it would not be the biggest shock in the world, right? It's not Paul Lim making the finals of the World Darts Championship, Lakeside, 35 years after becoming the first player to hit a 9 dart. Not that shocking. But what it is it's going to be a little bit shocking. I have 7-3 Murph. I just don't. Her lowest average was a 3.3 last week. Laine had at least 4 legs in the 2s. It's going to be really tough. Laine's going to have to play solid at a high level the entire night, or at least 7 legs worth. That's for sure. But if it does go to the last leg decider, I'm going to pick Laine. She averaged a 4 in that last leg decider. I'm going to be honest with you. She really picked it up after struggling for 3 legs straight.
Yeah, we saw it with the mixed doubles WCS that we saw the first 2 seasons. Laine just had these moments where the nerves got to her, the moment got to her a little bit, and she got really, really tight. But when she loosened up, she was just as lethal as anybody else on the start board. And I think the fact is we're in season 3 here. She's had a little bit more stream time, and she's eager for the opportunity to show that, hey, I got a little bit more here. I got some stuff going on. I've been working on my form, and I'm ready to show what I have.
Well, and we'll wait for her to throw again, but if you look at that form, I say this all the time. It's one of my favorite throws in the game. She makes it look so nice and smooth on a release point. Murph does not make it nice and smooth. She has a lot of movement in her throw, but it's all works to her advantage with all of that motion. How about Troy Leroy in the chat? I'm going to let you answer this question. Who's the Mick Maloney of Lady Darts this go around?
I mean, the Mick Maloney of Ladies Darts is still going to be Chrissy Grimmel, right? I mean, you're talking the de facto soft tip #1 female, just from accomplishments in the last decade. And then the Mick Maloney of the steel tip side of it for women's would be Paula Murphy. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. In this matchup or in this tournament, until Shay Cole makes it different, which I think that she might. Based on how she's performed so far this season. And I know I ridiculed you last week for it. Well, Will did. I kind of shut up about it. I let him do the work. Shay's going to be a tough test, but I think there's still Shay Cole is the Ram Guevara to Chrissy Grimmel's Mick Maloney. How about that?
That's an interesting way to word that, and absolutely adore it. It's going to be interesting because Shay's in a I'll be honest, she's in a mood. She's in a mood to prove everybody what she can do. She's in a mood to prove everybody what she can do and what she's in her words, going to do. You know, she has absolutely the most respect for all these ladies, and all these ladies are really just happy to have the single show. But I mean, it's Shea 4.5. I mean, that's Division 2, like top half average right there.
Yeah, and Chrissy has done that in Division 2 this past season. So they're going to be a lot closer than even that first week average for sure throughout the course of the season. I think it's going to be a good battle, and there's still a couple ladies that can come in and surprise one of those two. If whoever wins this week on our stream is going to give Shea a tougher test than she's faced so far. Let's put it that way. I fully expect her to be pushed a little bit, and first time on live stream for Shea too in this series is gonna put a little extra pressure on it as well, and it can. But I'm looking forward to it, man. Listen, this has been so much fun. Like week 1 was so much fun, like actually fun to do commentary, even with Will Stewart. It was so much fun. I enjoyed it. We kicked him out.
We did. We had to, but we do like him.
Look, we're making him leave the country. Okay. Just go to Europe, man. That's where you belong. Just go to the UK. Speaking of which, super jealous that Will is going over there. Of course, I can't be that jealous. I got to go last year and enjoy it. And I hope that you get to sooner rather than later too, buddy.
Yeah, I desperately want to go overseas. I want to go travel some more. One of my big goals is to go obviously watch the World Championships. World Match Play is another big one. Honestly, I want to go check out some of the exhibitions in Europe as well, or sorry, in Asia as well for soft tip and everything else. I just want to go travel more, see more, and do more. I guess there's a lot of darts out there that are to be seen. And darts is really in a healthy place. I mean, we're talking right before World Championships. I mean, we're literally 6 days away. I'm so excited.
We are 6 days away.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
Why do you think I'm wearing this jersey? It is Christmas. Come early, my friend. Darts and Christmas time are just the greatest. Or Hanukkah, if that's what you celebrate, or Kwanzaa, or any holiday that I'm forgetting that you might celebrate during this time period. But darts is always going to be that constant, right? And I cannot wait. I've been showing my students dart videos every day for the past 2 weeks since the draw came out pretty much. And I don't apologize for it at all. Actually, I was watching Jason Brandon play against Neil Duff on Friday after school. And my next door teacher, Joe, who's a social studies teacher, he doesn't watch darts at all, doesn't really know anything about it, walked over, saw what I was doing. He sits down and he goes, all right, how many legs do you have to win a set? 3. All right. How many sets till he wins? 4. All right. It's 3-0. Yep. All right. I'm going to sit down and watch for a minute. He did not leave until the end of the match. And by the end of the match, when Jason Brand hits that 148, he jumps up and is screaming louder than I am at the checkout. It's honestly, it's one of those, man, it's a sport where if you get the bug, just watching it one time and being enthralled, rooting for someone, just changes the entire capacity of it. And we get that every day for like 3 weeks straight, starting on the 15th. You can't beat it. You really can't. In the time frame, 7 a.m. start. So you wake up, watch darts. Then you have a little lunch. And then 2 p.m. darts. And then you can watch your primetime sports, whatever it is that you're going to watch. Or TV. Or you can join us here at the CSC or WCS or CSC Challenge Series. It's WCS this season. And all that good stuff. But man, I'm looking forward to it. It's the exciting time of the year. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely enthralling. And honestly, with my dad having a housewarming party this last Saturday, I was there, and it was about time for the Jason Brand Paul Lim match to come on. And every screen in the house had the Georgia football game on. There's a lot of Georgia fans at that house. I'm not a Dogs fan myself, but hey, to each their own. And I literally was like, hey, does anybody care if we put on some darts? And they were like, no, go ahead. I was really surprised at how willing everybody was to do that. And all of a sudden I had 8-9 people that have never watched a darts match in their life sitting down watching. And then, of course, I had to explain to them how cool it was to see Paul Lim and Jason Brandon as the semifinal.
Man, listen, the only thing better is if it was a final, right? But at the same time, you knew going to that semifinal that we were going to have someone to root for hard in the final, whoever it was. And the storylines would have been masterful. Huge shout out to Jason Brandon, first and foremost, Lakeside semifinalist, and American Lakeside semifinalist hasn't happened for quite a long time. So well done to him. And then, of course, Huge shout out to Paul Lim, 70 years young. He actually, did you see he got a message from the Prime Minister of
Did
Singapore? Yeah, the Prime Minister of Singapore like made a statement on social media about him. So cool, man.
Well,
that's where the sport transcends, right?
Yeah, and for those that might not know who Paul Lim is, let me tell you, first off, welcome to darts. Second off, he's most known for being my dad's partner in a Pro-Am splash in the 90s.
That is not what he's known for. He is known as being the first player in 1990 to hit a 9-darter at the World Darts Championship.
He's also known for being
one of the nicest, gone on to be, one of the nicest human beings in the world and one of the best soft hit players in the world.
I was at an event in Vegas 2018, 2019. Paul Lim met my dad one time in a Pro-Am splash and paid with him. Has no reason to remember him. I was at a dart tournament and Paul Lim was there, and literally I walked up. I was like, "It's nice to meet you." And then my dad walks up. He's like, "Oh, Dominic." So I just want to let you know he remembers everybody. He talks to everybody, and he really is the best of the Lims. You can tell Chris Lim I said it.
Listen. You cannot tell a story about someone remembering your dad and think it's something special. Your dad is one of the most memorable human beings that anyone will ever come across at any time. So if you spend any more than 5 minutes with him, you remember Dominic Teixeira, okay? Especially if you're playing with him. Oh, my God. There's no way Paul Lim would have forgotten that face and that voice, that stature. None of that. None of that.
Well, as a good friend once said, back to the match here. We have some great ladies playing in our live stream. Of course, we had to talk about some of the WDF shenanigans, right? But and then, of course, we haven't even touched the women's side of the things. But Laine, so far on track for a break here, especially after that 7 mark.
Big 6 mark from Laine Lyzak to take the big advantage here in leg number 1 against the throw. Murph had a huge advantage going into this too, as far as like the first. She had the 20s, 19s, and 18s closed before Laine even did anything. Quite the turnaround here in leg number 1, my friend.
Yeah, and I mean, Murph literally texted me before this match talking about some of the nerves that she was feeling there, right? It's one of those things where you don't think that someone that has been playing in the scene as long as Murph has gets nervous, but that's not true. She wants this. This is the women's show. She's one of 3 to average over a 4 with Shay Cole and Chrissy Grimmel. And she knows that she is a top 3 favorite in the show, and she wants to show why that's the case.
You're right. And being friends with Murph, you obviously know that. You talked to her today, I'm sure, about it. I'm telling you, Shay Cole's in the same boat. She gets nervous every week before she plays. She wants to continue to play well. She wants to continue to perform at the level that she knows that she can, what she's trying to do. And sometimes it's hard to realize or remember that if you just play your normal game, you should come out of most of these average wise, especially for those top players. And it's really difficult because you're going up against young guns who are scrappy, who are not fearful of playing anyone for any reason at any time. I mean, you're seeing it across darts in general right now. And Laine Lyzak, especially with that throw, that there's nothing bad about it. Even if it misses, it's missing on the wire. She's staying nice and smooth. She does barely get the point lead here. So Murph's trying to scratch and claw back into this leg. Yeah, winning darts.
Interesting opportunity here for Murph. One that I don't think she would have accounted for. Laine really wanted that opportunity to get the point lead. She did not do it in the first dart and just had to stay down. Big bull here for Meradith McGee. Right, that center.
First dart's huge. There it is. 17s and 15s. Wins her this leg.
Oh, unlucky as it catches the flight there. Just slaps a single. You have to go back to the bull. You can't commit to that 17 close with the X already on the bulls for Laine.
Well, if it matters to hit 2 marks versus 1, which it does not.
How about a double on the last?
That'll work. Yeah, that'll definitely work. Laine's got a lot of work to do now.
Those 17s are still evading her, but there finds one, needs to find another one of those. Doesn't regain the point lead. Meradith 4 mark now for the win.
Man, what a leg this first leg is. If this turns out like this, ladies and gentlemen, you just want to stick around. Again, hit that like button, hit the share button. 500 of you watching along with us already here in leg number 1.
Looking for that
Murph shot a
17 here.
10-darter against my mom in Booyah qualifier. Jax Bartlett.
That's also the first time Murph shot a 10-darter in competition, according to herself. She's never actually shot one in competition before that.
Does she go the Maloney route double? I do on a
No.
winning dart. Or does she go for the triple?
She's
It's a
going
winning
triple
dart.
here. She's going triple.
She goes for the triple and just goes inside.
Laine needs to settle down and not overcommit to the points here. Big single right there. I don't even care about the trip. Get me 2 darts at the bull. There you go. Nails the bull. Love it. Finds it.
Love it. That is aggressive, and the way you had to play that shot, you're absolutely correct there, Mr. Nick Durachi. And that's 1-0. Laine Lyzak, the blue bonnet, strikes first.
Yeah, and walks off there, gets to kind of lower the shoulders, de-stress for a second here. But Meradith, well below the lines of her average last week here.
Yep.
But she started off fine. It's just one of those things where she'll tell you her focus and her ADHD can really fight against her at times when it comes to playing these matches. This is going to be one of those things where she needs to get settled down early, because later on it might be harder to maintain that focus still.
See Mark back there sitting down in the background.
The worst
better half.
Yeah.
No, definitely the worst half has to be. Even though I like Mark. Laine's
Do you know how they met?
worst half is there too, which is interesting. Actually, I feel like she told me this story, and it's a funny one, and I feel like I forget what she said. So, yes, I've heard the story, but please remind us.
So
For those that haven't,
Meredith was playing at a blind draw where she meets a guy named Zach. They end up starting to hit it off. They talk well. They got along. Everything goes great.
How long ago was this?
This was quite some time ago. I don't want to give a year on it. I don't know off the top of my head. But this is a ways back. They've been together for at least as long as I've known Murph, so decades. And when they met at a blind draw. They hit it off really well. And all of a sudden, they start dating. They go on a couple dates. They date for almost 6 months before Zach says, by the way, my name's actually Mark. I use fake names when I sign up for blind draws. Months they dated. Not like talking. No, they dated for months before that was ever corrected. Mark's sitting back there with the hat.
You mean Zach?
Mark, Zach, whatever his name is. Pretty sure he works for the FBI.
Listen, I'm going to be honest. That's Meredith's fault. He does not look like a Zach. There's no Zach in his face. That's a Mark if I've ever seen one. Big 7. She's had 2 7s in the 3 rounds that she's thrown.
Yeah, absolutely a banger of a round there.
And again, what I love most about Laine's throw is that it doesn't look like she's trying too hard. She's just releasing the dart at the right moment to just let it kind of float to the board, and it floats beautifully. It's not like it's floating like it has like a large parabola or anything like that. It's just is the perfect release.
Yeah, well, what's nice about something like Laine's throw versus Meredith, you're looking at a smooth feel type of throw versus a more mechanical style throw. Meredith thinks about every aspect of her form, and she will verbalize it to herself while she is throwing. And what's hard is when you get nervy and you have a mechanical throw, you're overthinking about everything. Laine, with that nice natural rhythm to her throw there, not much mechanics going on, just pretty much all instinct.
Snap through.
It's really hard to show the nerves with the actual throw as much. It gives you a little bit more leeway there.
Yeah, and I find, I find myself with a mechanical throw, which I wouldn't call myself one with a mechanical throw or anything like that. But when I'm feeling good, it feels pretty mechanical. I almost can just focus on one aspect, right? Like keep the elbow steady. And then I don't worry about a single thing else. And I know that my darts feels good. Like it's a really small thought process, right? You want to be able to kind of adjust with very small adjustments. I'm going to be honest, Meredith, you see the entire right side of her body, from her arm to her shoulder is wrapped up. She's got compression sleeves on her elbow and things like that. That's got to have a little bit to do with how much she puts oomph into her throw over the course of 35 years of playing. Got to definitely lead to that. And I just think that someone like Laine, who does not really have that aspect of it is maybe going to need all of those contraptions on their arm when they get older. Now, that being said, the fractured wrist didn't help. So, but she also does always wear a compression sleeve or compression most of the time anyway.
Yeah, she already had the wrist guard already on there for the last couple of years now. The 2 compression gloves underneath, that's the new addition there. She again opted out of getting the surgery to heal it. And she says for pain wise it's not too bothersome, but long formats where that's really tested because you're really doing repetitive stressing on your wrist and arm there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I hate her so much that she averaged a 4.09 with that last week. That's insane. That being said, does that become an issue when the matches go longer, when they extend a little bit longer for her? Because that was only 9 legs. She won 7-2. So if it gets to 7-4, 7-5, is that going to start to kind of wear a little bit more? I know that she plays darts all the time, and she plays in leagues that are longer than that. She'll kind of know where her level needs to be at this point, what she's going to do, but it's just something just always to think about.
Well, and I could tell you exactly how this game plan, if I was the coach of this, right? If I was sitting in their corner and I had the ability to say this is exactly how I would want every leg to go. Laine, it's all about the
Come on, Coach Teixeira.
It's all about the early jump. She needs to get herself settled early. That way that pressure's far from her shoulders. Vice versa, Meradith wants to get the early jump for a different reason. It's not pressure related, but it's more of like fatigue of the wrist. And again, her ADHD. Long formats have been a known struggle for her that she's verbalized. So they both just need to get, whoever has the better start. If Laine jumps up like 2-0 here, it immediately has the favor versus Meradith. If she ends up recovering well, she doesn't want this to be close. That's the biggest thing.
You're spot on for 2 reasons. The first is because of everything that you just said. And the second reason is because if you also think about their mindsets heading into this, big darts from Meradith. One of them's nervous. If they go down 2-0, the nervous one's probably going to become more nervous. Whereas the other one who's confident, if she starts off 2-0 against the throw, that's going to make her more confident. So I almost think this is a must-win leg for Meradith early on in this match.
Well, and I think also what helps with the perceived confidence is if we remember Laine's first few interviews for the WCS, it was a little shaky. She was holding the phone in her hands. And then she's like, after that, I had watched it back. I got a phone stand. And now it's all confidence. And I was like, the phone stand really makes the difference. She's like, it does for when I stream my own matches, for the interviews. I'm like, you got your value.
Yep. And she is coming up with some funny stuff for these interviews. I'm telling you what. Again, we do the break after leg 5 now in the WCS, not leg 7, for those of you that are used to our CSC Challenger Series format. How about this? We have 500 people watching this, and we got, what is it? It's Nickelodeon football going on right now. No, Simpsons football going on right now for Monday Night Football. Yeah. But who cares about that? We got a Floridian taking on a Houstonian. And this is a good battle here in this leg.
Meradith needs to focus on getting this close shut down here on the 16s. That one goes a little awry, and she needs to stay focused on this close now. You only need a single. You're going to commit to it, but you don't want to leave your opponent a shot to take away your 19s there. And she does just barely sneak it in.
So far, I've also been really impressed with Laine's ability to adapt to the speed of the game early on. Meradith is a very, very consistent, focused, deliberate dart player, kind of like Paul Lim is. And if you watched any of the WDF stuff at Lakeside, you saw a lot of the faster players start to really get out of sorts playing against Paul because he slows down their game just by being himself. And it really, it frustrated Neil Duff. It frustrated the Jarno kid who had not looked frustrated the entire time. It's what happens. It's what Paul can do. And he doesn't do it unnaturally. It's just his natural tempo. And same thing with Meradith. She's just a very deliberate dart player. You've got to be able to kind of just get past it.
Well, And here's the thing with that in particular is the fact that if you're playing a remote start match, this doesn't matter if it's individual player pace or not. You should not be anywhere near that line until it's clicked on over to your screen. None of that walking over while it still says please waiting. You're waiting for the lights to turn on. You're setting up your throw while the lights are still faded on the dartboard. Stuff like that is really bad for your own focus and momentum. You have better rhythm when you approach the game screen with a fresh mind every single time. It's a little different when you're playing in person or when you're playing a steel tip matches. Meredith does get this leg done here, but self-pacing is so utterly important when it comes to remote play in darts. You have to wait till that screen's transitioned over.
You are not wrong. 100%. And that's honestly what I struggle with a lot of times when I play remote. I'm a walking up to the line, standing at the line as the person's walking past me, with my arm out to fist bump, of course, because I'm not rude. Sometimes I have to get out of their way when they're walking straight back, but for the most part, I like to be at that line ready to go. And so in remote play, I do have to sometimes take an extra second to pace myself, just like what's happening here. Aiden Cromwell, I'm going to talk to you first in the chat for the first time this evening. First of all, hi guys. Sorry, we've been just avoiding you this whole time. It's not really us. The new thing that we were using, it stopped updating for me. I don't know about you.
I know.
But Maya, hi buddy. I'm not calling Meredith old. I said older, as in older than Laine. Thank you. I'm older than Laine. Aiden Cromwell asking a great question. I would like to join the WCS. How do I qualify? Well, Aiden, you have to go through a long process, and then you're going to get just a lot of hate for the rest of your life. I just need you to know that just straight out. So if it's worth it for you to try it because you actually feel that way, go for it. Otherwise, just play in the CSC like the rest, you know, where it's open to everybody.
Wow. What an answer.
Listen, first of all, I need you to understand that I said that the best way I possibly could. I rode that line fine, and I want to talk about it. I feel like I pulled that off brilliantly, and we're going to move on. Murph, could have saved it with a boom goes dynamite for me, but she did not.
Hey, it's good. Hey, it's great to see all you guys in chat here. We do appreciate each and every one of you commenting along here. It's always a pleasure to be able to talk with you guys, see you guys out here, especially as we're winding down towards the end of the year.
Did you see famous Vanessa Talks, who was featured on during the Vikings game on Sunday? First of all, Vanessa, how'd you get those tickets? And can we become best friends? Not because I'm a Vikings fan, but just to be that close to the field. Second of all, that was really cool. It was really cool to see that picture taken by, I forget even who took the picture of you, but that's really cool. Yeah, she had sweet tickets on the ground level of the Vikings game. She was in the very front row, like basically eye high with the players. And Dalvin Cook, not Dalvin Cook, he's not on the team anymore. Aaron Jones, when he scored a touchdown, was like standing right in front of their suite.
That's pretty incredible seats right there, especially with watching the Sam Darnold Renaissance and going on with the Vikings.
Yeah, you're not wrong. He's not seeing ghosts anymore, that's for sure.
No.
I believe people from Illinois are called Illini, right?
Illini?
Illini?
I'm not going to argue with you on this one. I just know the blue bonnet's a singular word. Standard in this league has been exceptional. 4 rounds in, and these ladies are over a 5 right now. Meredith just trying to get the opportunity to go upstairs. She opted not to earlier. She had an opportunity after a first start single. She was ahead less than a mark in points. She could have gone for 2 single 20s and opted to stay down. I don't know if that's been paying off for her so far, especially with the way the trip 20 has been falling in for Laine.
And it falls in once more. That time Laine was being aggressive, though. She had a 17-point lead and actually went towards the 19s first. I think just to try and slow the bleeding down on the 19s that Meredith keeps hammering.
Aiden apologizing for ruining my win streak against Sean and gave me my first. You're right. It was your fault. Definitely not Casey Jones's fault.
No, I made Casey mad. Before the start of that match or that I was like, hey, Nick's partner's doing his job. What are you doing? I have the better player. What are you doing? He goes, oh, okay. And that was all she wrote. I know how to
was history.
Fire up my partners.
Well, there you go. Laine fires up those 19s and sends them away there, having some advantage. I want Meredith to take the swing if she finds a trip in the first start here. Otherwise, you're going to stay. But more likely, knowing her shot selection, she's going to stay until she gets a point lead regardless here. Needs to find 5.
But if she does decide to switch to the 20s, aim right at that broken tip that's in the board that's been bothering me their game or match. It's green. It's bright green. It's plastic. It's just right there.
Well,
Michael,
I left it there on purpose.
That's fair. Thank you. I love learning from better players too. That's why I enjoy commentary every time I do it, because I'm always watching better players than myself.
That is true. Actually, 100% of the time.
Yep, it's crazy. It is honestly insane.
Well, it's funny though. Like, we joke about stuff like that, but regardless of who you are, when you watch as much matches as we do, when you interact with as many players as you do and talk with them, and you have a willingness to accept that what you might believe is correct might be wrong. Let me tell you, I've learned a lot. It's completely changed how I approach the game and my mentality towards it. And I feel like I'm a better player because of it, and I don't even play that much anymore.
And that's why in Master Out, you're going trip 13 on that first start.
Don't you bring it up. Don't you do it. That's a different show. This is a safe space. As JC
Look
Martinez
at JC
says,
Martinez.
hello, my buddy.
Calls out you. Thanks, JC.
That's right. That's right. That's my buddy.
That's all right. That's fair. Whatever. Paul, yeah, tomorrow's match for the 2 Point Streaming is actually a celebrity shot 2. So there's a coach on both teams that are higher quality players, Ben Fairs and Tim Neal. So the Philly Legends playing, and not really playing. They're coaching, but they get to, at times steal some shots, take some shots themselves, and they have like a number of cards that they have available to use throughout the match. The first time we did Celebrity Shot, the captains or the coaches were way too nice to the players and like just wanted the players to do it. And that's not the point of the stupid format. So Tim and Ben, if you're listening in, will you guys please play this the right format and like take shots at outs and try to win the match? Thank you. All right, back to the action.
And back to the match here, as this one's going to be going the distance. I think we have a round out coming over ways here. It's pretty deep into it, almost 1,000 points scored for both these players. Well, actually, we're only at round 9 of 20, but they just have been consistently battling and really haven't had too many opportunities for closes. But Murph, you have to be thinking, when do I get my shot at the 20s?
Well, she can do it. Meow. Right, meow.
She should pop it.
Yep.
Stays for 2. Now you're definitely going to pop it. Meradith McGee, single 20 needed.
Yeah, go for the boom, Meredith.
Yeah, she did.
Boom goes the dynamite. We're going to give it to her anyway. John Ross, happy birthday, brother. 35 years old. The next birthday celebration that you'll be doing, because after this point, now that you've reached your midlife crisis point, it's just when do you buy that brand new car, bud? Let us know when that day happens. Tyler Hensey says, thank you, Sean. You're welcome, Tyler. And I have no idea what you're thanking me for, but I know it was something special.
Yeah,
and no, it wasn't what you think it is.
What, did you loan him a hand? He's holding up both his hands. I want you guys to know. I can see it. That's terrible. Murph has been finding
have to
those
say it out loud.
You said C. I thought I was here to transcribe the audience, the feelings, the emotions, and the amount of hands.
There were 2 of them. For the Trip 13 comment. You're welcome, Tyler.
That's even worse. Get out of here. Scram. I'm sorry for defending you.
He can count on one hand how many times that's been the right shot for him.
How about a 7 mark from Laine Lyzak there? The point battle continues in the standard. I mean,
yeah. They're throwing fire. 5-3-0, playing a 4-9-1 right now, guys, in leg number 3. And this is pretty deep into the game, too.
Yeah, round 11
of 20.
Woo. Well said. Absolutely a close affair between these ladies and showing really what they're capable of doing right now. This is full focus, full attention to detail on every one of these darts right now.
all jokes aside, I miss everyone who's in the chat. You guys are all wonderful.
He does not.
Except for you, Nick.
I'm excited to be seeing everyone from chat here pretty soon. January, I'm already gone 3 different weekends, almost 4.
Wait, really? You just popular, man.
All over the place.
I am gone one weekend, thankfully, at this point. And that will be Las Vegas, baby.
Oh, yeah, for the Las Vegas Open.
Where I believe there will be a 3-time women's world champion there.
Who?
She turns 21, I believe, between now and then, as she just won her 3rd world championship at the age of 20.
Oh, I think I've heard of her. Is this Bo? Is it Greaves? Is that her name?
That would be her. Yeah, good old Bo. Who, by the way, you want to talk about absolute amazing human being. Her interview when she won the women's, just to talk mostly about Sophie McGinley's 2 finals that she played that day, and just the masterful performance that she put on was really special. And Bo, you just continue to show why you're a great champion. How about Ginger Higgins in the chat? LL Cool Lyzak is probably the much cooler nickname than Blue Bonnet, and I'm so upset that I gave her LL, that I did not give her LL Cool Lyzak.
Yeah, that's a pretty sick nickname.
LL Cool Lane. LL Cool Lane. Even works great. Gosh.
Yeah, those next couple tournaments you can be on the lookout for. These will all be on USA Darts going into January. That's going to be the first one's going to be the Bull Shooters next stop, Texas, Houston Bull Shooter. That is starting the 10th. And then starting the 17th, the Las Vegas Open will be going on our stream. The 24th, an unannounced tournament that might get announced on a certain tour. And then on the 31st, the Pennsylvania Bull Shooter.
Are you gonna need someone for that one that weekend? I'm just kidding. Here is Laine Lyzak. LL Cool Lyzak is looking like she's gonna be going down 2-1 as Eminem Meradith McGee is 5-6-2 in this leg.
There's nothing
into this.
Either one of these girls should be mad about at the end of this leg. Laine's average has dipped in these last 6 starts here. Don't let that be representative of the fact that you just played 13 rounds of excellence. That's what's going to be your takeaway here. You got to say, I really gave it hard and gave it all, and I'm going to give it again in the next one.
Yeah, 5.49 in 14 rounds from Meradith McGee. I don't care who you are. I don't care what gender you are. That's fire right there. 618 people watch along. That's also fire. Guys, hit that like button, hit that share button. Let everybody know that we are live here. WCS Week 2. Top 8 match on the winner's side. Meradith McGee taking on Laine Lyzak, Houston, Texas. For Laine and Central Florida. Trick Shots Metro West for Meradith McGee. God bless you. I know. I love it. Guys, exciting to have this format. 2-1 lead here for Meradith McGee. Lost leg number 1, won the last 2 on the trot to get us to this point. Last week we had a last leg decider with Alyssa and Hunter. I mean, again, how much fun was it to be a part of that last week? They put on such a show.
It was incredible. And, it's no secret. And PPD, if you're listening, stop for a second. Let me tell you, I've been wanting this to be singles from day one, and I'm excited that's here. Now, granted, I will always say that mixed double show should have just had a different name, and we all would have had a fun time. But I'm so happy that the singles is here. I'm so happy that the ladies started off with a thriller. And it's, we can talk about how one of the arguments that drove me crazy was the viewers would not show. Let me tell you, they did. And they continue to into week 2 here. I always said that streaming was very different from the first time we had a women's singles show here in the PPD. That was back pre-COVID. It's a completely different space. The ladies put on a great show. And the fact is, it doesn't matter what the averages are. They literally played every game with their heart on the line. And that's really fun to watch a lot of the time.
And it's an unknown to watch every week. How are they going to perform in leg 12, leg 13? How are they going to perform when they're up 4-1? Are they going to be able to make that comeback if they're down 4-1? You know, and all of that is growth in the game for anyone that competes in the series. We saw it on the men's side for 7 seasons now. From season 1 to season 7, it is a completely different ball game here in season 7. And I think it's because a lot of players went through seasons 1 through 6 of that CSC Challenger Series to gain not just like a knowledge for how to play in that format, but you had to gain a lot of lost my train of thought. Great. You had to get better first and foremost because the players kept getting better and better. Now there's half the field's over a 5 when that was insane. Season 1 was to see a 5.62.
Like yeah.
And yeah, it just keeps getting better. The mental capacity to stay focused for 17 legs of darts, I think helps tremendously in the game forever. It helps you in tournaments. It helps you long term. And I think it's just going to make everyone who gets to play in these types of format tournaments is just going to, for this type of prize money, $2,500 first place, $1,500 second place is plus a lot of money left to go. It's invaluable. No matter how you finish in the tournament, anything like that, it's invaluable to make you a better player next time you play in a big tournament.
Well, and, you know, on top of that, we're just seeing these different growth sectors of our game. I mean, you saw Fallon Sherrick when she became Queen of the Palace. That was one of those moments where women's darts felt revitalized, and then Bo Greaves continuing on that train. Luke Littler and his magical run felt like it got a whole new generation of darters involved. And then you have Paul Lim. And here's the Paul Lim effect is on Sunday, I was at a blind draw. So yesterday I was, and Kenny Doyle and Nick Slepik were talking. They're like, it makes us feel good that even us old guys can do something like that. And I was like, it's the reverse Luke Littler. I love it. I'm here for it. So seeing darts grow as a whole, seeing all the different aspects, the youth game, the women's game, the men's game, the seniors game, whatever it may be, I'm absolutely here on the edge of my seat, ready to commentate every bit of it.
Yeah. Just think about that for a second. There was a 54-year gap between the finalists of the PDC World Art Championship last year and the finalist at Lakeside this year. 54-year gap.
Disgusting.
But that proves that proves our point more than anything else. Like that anyone can play this game at a high level. It does not matter your age, your gender, your athletic ability, disabilities aside, height, weight. It just, if you can consistently focus with a mental game over the course of long periods of time and consistently make that hand and that arm do the same thing over and over and over again in repetitive form, you can play darts and you can be really good at darts.
Looking at this one right here, this is a really good leg as it's in round of 6 right now. Laine has done a great job of defending the 20s and continuing to push the game down the board here. Look at that. That's an aggressive confidence shot. You don't start 17s there and then stay after the first single unless you're really feeling like you're just going to collect. She absolutely did. And Murph, what her game has been doing, she's been playing really solid, putting up honestly the higher average most of these legs. But what she's been failing to do is take those shots to the 20 when she's had opportunities, or at least not collecting them fully.
Matt Graff, I'm saying with your throw, you're lucky that darts is a game that most people can get good at, depending on no matter what.
Look at the flick of the wrist. Hey.
I mean, you're definitely an athlete to be able to pull off that maneuver. Let's put it that way. In fact, you haven't snapped your wrist off over and over again is impressive.
Well, Laine just going along the corner pockets here. Can use that as a marker dart into the trip. Drops it low on the last. And again, that full confidence. She trips at 16. The safer darts to go up and pad another 20 there real quick, and she's continuing to move along. That is a good sign for her. And I already called at the beginning, we're not seeing a 3-1 Laine tonight. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct there. Now this is where it's gotten interesting so far in this match, and Meredith has timed this better than Laine. Even in the first leg, Meredith probably should have won that leg. I'd say that 4 mark goes 60% of the time, 70% of the time for her.
Wholeheartedly
in
agree.
That situation, yeah. Todd Christensen bringing up Larry Butler, absolutely. I mean, the fact that he won his 9th CDC event last year is just insane. With everything that he's gone through, and he still continues to compete at a high level. He almost had a 9-darter last year on the floor of the CDC, went 8 into it. So yeah, it's really cool from top to bottom. You can be 16, you can be 70, and still compete at the highest level of the game.
Did see a comment in here earlier I missed during all the chaos of the match, but Eric saying, who would you say is the best in Ohio? As far as for males, I won't take a hard opinion on that one right now, as I just haven't been following the scene as closely. For a long time, of course, it was DJ Sayer, but he has not been playing as much as of late. But Taylor Thax on the women's side has been nothing but impressive pretty much every time I've seen her throw since I've met her. And it's one of those, we saw her at the Invitational Shootout. She played great out over there. She comes out in Florida to play with Caitlin Myers and messes up the Paula Murphy team. I mean, you got to give the girl some credit. She has been on a hot streak the last 12 months.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy that you brought her up, because she was one name last week we didn't say out of all the names that we said about ladies that should be in this, that would make it make 32 really, really strong field players. She would definitely add to that, hands down.
Well, if you're in Ohio, if you're someone in Ohio or near Ohio right now, Ohio actually has some pretty big gaps in their PPD coverage. Go ask your vendor right now, hey, I want to get the PPD here. That's free to join. Yes. You can do that, and we can get all you guys in there. I know, because when I go up at home, I have to cancel my league matches rather than playing them out there.
Oh, that stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys got to get on that, Ohio. And listen, the talent of Ohio darters, it's a bloodbath when you go over there.
Well, Meredith trying to dig herself out of this situation here, and she's taking full advantage of her turn timer. She, again, is really good at self-pacing. She will take her time and sometimes take time in between darts like she does right there. She felt something was wrong. She's going to take advantage of this, and this is where it gets a little tricky, because this is where nerves build. You're Laine, you're ready to throw, you're watching the screen.
Yep.
You got to just settle in. Needs to go to the points now. This is a risk. No. Big find.
Oh, that's a big dart. It's a big dart. Not enough to ensure she does not lose this leg. Yeah, it is. There's 3. I didn't see the 15s weren't closed. Jax Bartlett asking a great question. Who you think is the best in Montata? Cat laughy face.
That was a great comment from the 14-year-old Jax Bartlett, everybody. Let me tell you, there's no dart players in Montata.
I have never taught him. I want everybody to know that. I have never been his language arts teacher. I need that to be perfectly clear. That gave her a miss at the bullseye.
That's definitely a case of baloney there, as it was drilled in, but it just caught the barrel funny and the flight slapped in a weird section.
And Laine takes advantage of it. 3-2-6 from Laine over a 2-9-1 from Murph. Listen, I'm going to say it right now. Laine has raised her level of game in this match. Are you keeping track on the tracker, or
are you curious about the stats right now?
I just want to know, what's the lowest Laine shot so far?
Well, I'll tell you, I forgot to do it.
Perfect. So I figured that you did, actually, because I didn't mention it earlier, and Will usually starts it. So whatever. We'll find out at the end. I think a 3-2-6 is around it, though, if I'm being fair. Listen, so far so good. 2-2 score line. Do we go the distance? Is it that early on to suggest that?
Sorry, I've been making sure the players are aware that there's one more leg till the break. Meredith and Mark are talking about it real quick there. I just sent a little message to the players, one more leg. So Meredith's probably just confirming that this is a different rule than how they've been used to playing. So,
Well, we got a second, Nikki baby. Let me tell you, the A to Z Darts December Dart of the Month is in full swing, along with the special monthly raffle. Grab yourself a Dart of the Month set and some shiny new barrels from the Winmore 2025 launch, just in time for that holiday season. Just tap the banners on their website over at a-zdarts.com.
Well, that sounds like a great idea. Go there now, everybody. Link is in chat. Make sure to go show A to Z some love, and thank you for sponsoring our show once again. If you want to sponsor the WCS, the CSC, or anything else involving the PPD, make sure to reach out over at dartstoc.com or go over to the Facebook page, Partners Promoting Darts. Well, here we go. One more thing until the break here, and this has been one of those moments, one of these games where things have not gone how Meradith probably drew it up here, and it's going exactly how Laine has drawn it up.
Oh. I thought that was going to be the first 9. I want Laine to go back and watch that, right? She those first 2 darts without moving her body at all. On the 20s, she got excited as she released the dart, and she straightened up her back. Right before shooting. That's what made it go high.
It's so easy to do something like that too when you're throwing and you're just playing darts, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I got these 2. Let's go ahead. And you don't even realize you're doing it. And then as soon as you throw the dart, you're like, why did I just not take that extra half a second here?
Yep. You throw that last dart and you go, boo.
Is that what I do?
Boo. Yeah, that's what I do.
I believe what I do is I look like a maniac on camera, dancing the whole time, doing weird stuff. And then when I hit my one good shot of the match, I scream.
I make gym faces into the camera.
That's fair.
Yeah. Just to show off how miserable I am playing against inferior opponents like yourself.
I appreciate that. It says more about you than me if I'm the inferior opponent that's beaten you this many times. Oh, well, right
I've been
now,
out of practice, okay?
Laine on an absolute out of practice. I met you at a 2-8. Anyway, Laine has done a great job of just dictating control. Someone made a comment earlier in regards to saying, do you think she's shortening the game just because of Meredith's pace of play? I don't think it has anything to do with Meredith's pace of play, but I do think that she's just feeling confident. When she's not, she's pointing, right? And on top of that, this is our first time really getting a deep look in the PPD circuit, at least, at her game individually rather than in a pairs mode where she was in that support role. And I think that her playing this tight-knit, confident game is good for her. Now, this last start, I want you to bail out on these 18s here. It's high risk, high reward, and that's what she does.
Yeah, I know, but it's so close to that triple 18 that, it's 2 good markers on it. And that's why I would hit a single 18 there on dart 3. Maybe another triple 1.
Fancy Pants Phillips, Laine's opponent from last week, joining us in the chat. A tight-knit match where it was a 0.01 difference between you ladies. Welcome in, and thanks for joining us along here.
Let me see. I know that she was playing earlier this evening. I saw her live stream going. I did not see the final results of that against Jamie, and it's not updated on the bracket. So I was looking for that just to see if we could see it. Shay Cole is moved on. Chrissy Grimmel defeated Christy Davis as well already this evening. So Chrissy moves to that one loss side of the bracket. She actually takes on the winner of that Jillian Phillips, Jamie Nowak match. Alyssa Evans, Olivia Terry, also another match going on this evening on the winner's side. I'm telling you, not a bad match. Not a bad match.
We don't really get to pick the matches unless they ask for us to pick them, which is very rare. Yeah, I can tell you with full certainty, if we got Christy versus Chrissy, we would have been struggling on the commentary side of things.
Here's Davis.
Here's Grimmel. But how many times have we had 2 players with the same first name that completely threw off our commentary the whole night? Laine says, I have my own name, finds a 7.
Ooh. That she does. That she does. Hey, let's talk about Team Lyzak real quick.
Talk about it.
So they have a Dart Academy in Africa that they got started, and they've done a lot of great things over there as a part of their charity work and things like that. So I just want to give a huge shout out to Laine and her family for being a part of Team Lyzak, and which is really cool. That's a really special way to give back in darts or in the world. It's a cool way to do that.
That's one of the big things that's on my docket for 2025 is ways to give back to either the community or charity in general with darts. In fact, I was actually just talking with Mike Carter about this over Messenger, and I mentioned that I've wanted to do a couple of dart streams as well before, but I want to do some more charity events going into this next year. Get some of these big name players that are just playing purely for the pride of it all and for the charity of their choice. And hopefully that's something that we can do at least once or twice, maybe get a match or two here or there. I think it would be really cool to see. And shout out to the Lyzaks for doing what they do.
Yeah, I see Russ in the chat. Russ, you want to give a little blurb about Team Lyzak just in the chat that we can look at? As I know, I did not give enough specifics on the details there, but we'd like to know them. But it's one of those things that every once in a while someone reaches out to one of us for something to be signed, which we always are shocked by when that happens, the 3 times that it has. But we're always also really quickly willing to give up whatever anyone needs if it's going to raffle off for a great cause and help out whoever gets it that actually wants to have something of ours. So it's definitely special when we're able to do that. So thank you. When we become more famous, like real famous, like actual famous, like in the world, not like in our minds, we'd love to continue to do stuff like that. Speaking of which, did you notice my new donation to my collection?
Oh, what do you got over there?
Let me move my mic so you can see it.
We can't. There's a jersey in the corner, folks.
I see it's cut off there, huh? It's not on my screen. It is a replica Stowe Bunce World Championship stage jersey from last year's World Championships.
A replica? I got the real one.
No, you don't. And there were only like 4 of the original ones that he wore on stage. Even the replicas, there's only a couple of them because they were in the wrong size. They were sized a little bit wrong for him. Otherwise, they would have been part of the jerseys they would have worn. So it's really cool for him to allow me to have one of those. It is signed on both sides by him, but you can't read it on either side because it's about as busy as it can get. Thanks a lot, Dave Garfinkel. Picasso of darts strikes again.
Jay, we want to appreciate you tuning in for the first time to the Women's Singles Challenger Series here. Ooh. It is 2-2 scoreline. If you guys see that little game scoreline on the top of that soft tip screen there, I just want to let you guys know that that's a lie. It counts the diddle at the very beginning of the game. Our scoreboard right above it will be correct there. We are currently in game 5 here. This is the last game before the break, and these ladies are looking to see who has the edge going into the second half of this match.
And listen, the interviews are fantastic. You're going to want to stay there for them, not just because Nick's on screen for a longer period of time, but because the interviews are great. Obviously, Meradith is such a character. It's such a fun character. One of my favorite people. Like, it takes a certain amount of showmanship to pretend fall and then actually fall and fracture your wrist just during a walk-on for a laugh. Like, that is commitment beyond all belief. And that is the type of showmanship that I live for. So I'm definitely here for it. And the interview is deadly. Let's put it that way. It's deadly. It might shock you at the start to see her laying down. And then Laine just is a great interviewer. Tell me, as interviews go, are they both one of the easier ones to interview?
Well, I'll be entirely frank in the fact that after interviewing Laine this time, I said, this is completely different. You were way more confident. You sounded so put together there. Not that you didn't before. As we get a...
Boom goes the dynamite from Meradith McGee, the first. Not the last.
She absolutely has upped her interview game. And frankly, when we put these together, usually one interview is better than the others, or what have you, and I actually sometimes affects how I order which interview plays first. This time I was between the seriousness and the confidence of Laine's to Meradith being her goofy character, I was like, these are just must-watch interviews. Meredith's a great interviewee. Laine has become one as well, and it's really cool to see these players develop and getting more camera time and getting used to that aspect of this, which is hopefully going to be something that not only us do more of in the future with interviews, but hopefully the sport as it continues to grow.
I agree completely. Zozo in the chat. Where does Meredith throw out of? I feel like we've seen this bar view often, or I just watch too many streams. LOL. It is Trick Shots Metro West. You do see this very often. This is a popular Central Florida location for like Danny Baggish, Chrissy Grimmel has played out of there many times. Kenny Doyle, all of the Florida people. That's where they typically play out of that area.
Exactly. Danny Baggish won season 6 of the CSC over there. You had Danny and Chrissy as a duo win season 1 and 2 of the mixed doubles challenger series. And now you're seeing Meredith that plays out of there as well. It's just a very good Central Florida hub. And these players also, just a reminder, they have to be within 60 miles of their streaming bar. When you're in places like Texas, you have a few more options. When you're in places like the Wisconsin area, you have a few more options. Florida, you got this one, and you got King Seat and South Florida as your 2 big streaming bars.
Yeah, Chrissy Grimm on the chat saying, I'm terrible at those interviews. Chrissy, you choose to be terrible at those interviews. I need you to be honest with us. Because, like, Chrissy Grimmel, the person that we see in hilariousness on a daily basis when we're at tournaments, the goofy, laid back, hilarious Chrissy Grimmel, who's just really Meredith-like in her personality when she's with people that she knows. If she was just that person on camera, she'd just be hilarious. But she kind of tightens up a little bit, and that's okay. She lets her darts speak for herself most of the time.
Her darts and
speak very loudly.
Her kick, her Heisman, that all speaks for it. Her kick in the ding ding mentality. I mean, she's a fierce opponent that doesn't need much said for her. And you know what? I'm going to start doing like ad lib interviews for her. I'm going to just put in whatever I would answer the question as if I was Chris. That's hilarious. And I think that's how we're going to do it from now on.
Let's do that. Actually, can you just interview me and I'll just pretend to be Chrissy? I'll put on a wig. I can do that.
Chrissy, which one of us do you want to impersonate you, for the record?
It won't be me. I can tell you that much. I'll have too much of a beard. Russ, I just want to give him a shout out for what he said. So Russ Lyzak said, both of my parents played in South Florida. My dad taught me to give back and get involved. I started at 14. So naturally, when Jen joined Team Lyzak, she had to play. Then all of our kids played as they got interested. And now Laine and Trevor helped me with DL Houston. Lyzak Ameka Academy started about 4 years ago. We fund events and travel for the kids and players. Many send products, but money is the most important. My goal is to keep funding the academy in order to make it a club that does so much more than darts. Internet and helping with school and life is a goal. If anyone wants to sponsor an event or get involved, just please reach out to Russ. So there you go. You can get involved in Team Lyzak. Russ, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that.
Good answer indeed there. And thanks for what you do for everything. I mean, it's incredible, right? Just the contributions to the sport and everything else that we see from all these different players, groups, families. It's really cool to see how the dart scene has really just been flourishing in the whole aspect of 2020 and on.
Yeah, it's been really special for us, obviously, to get to do these things as often as we now get to do them. It's crazy, honestly, that people still put microphones in our faces and allow us to do this. Ashley Roberts says, you're obsessed with darts when you're watching in a hospital bed. Well, first of all, hope you're okay. For the love of goodness, get some rest at some point. But thanks for watching. Like always, Ash.
Or maybe they're a nurse or a doctor and they fell asleep on the job, like they're taking a nap in like one of the rooms.
Just laying on the bed.
Well, Meredith in good control so far of this leg. It's been another back and forth affair. And really, these averages for the night are not going to be representative of how close all of these games have been. This is around 17-20. They're not going to finish out the game from here. And you can see that's part of Meredith's strategy. She was going there. Unless she went trip, I don't think she was going to move off there. And even if she went trip, you might have stayed for all of them. Just because at this point, you're not thinking about closing everything out. You're thinking about how do I get a mathematical advantage that can't be overcome.
Hey Russ, is Team Lyzak all the family going to be in Vegas? I know you guys were last year. Because if that's the case, maybe we do a little USA Darts family versus Team Lyzak for charity.
Be a good one.
That could work. What do you think, Russ?
Russ said yes to the being there.
No, yeah, to being there. Maybe we can think about something. Maybe we can brainstorm a little bit. Vanessa talks to us. I've done that at Nurse. As you should. You guys have the hardest job in the world.
And that's going to be from a teacher.
Russ, I did know that you were on the ADO board. That's why I definitely remember last year you being there. So there you go. Says we're down.
Well, Meredith
all right,
is going to feel down after that shot. 30-point difference. Only secured a 1 mark there at the tail end of this leg. Laine has a big moment. First one slips low. Good correction.
But then she adjusts perfectly.
Wow.
Look at that adjustment on darts 2 and 3. Throwing a 4.06 in this leg. Against the throw, over 1,000 points. This is round number 19, my friend.
Both
so you know what's happening
6
here.
Darts. 6 darts left. Murph has been lighting up these 18s, though. That 1 mark has been askew from her normal rounds at it. First one's low in the bed. She can stack right on top of the dart the way her dart flies.
She's already had 1 boom on these 18s. Are we going to see a second? Boom goes the dynamite. What a time for that one in round 19 with your opponent on the lower number.
Laine has to close this distance down. She needs to find another 2-trip turn here. She doesn't find it. Meredith can mathematically eliminate her. It's already a 48-point separation here.
So 2 triples would do exactly that.
Meredith was just having a little bit of a debate there because sometimes when you're on round 20 and you're the player going first, you can also mathematically eliminate by hitting a 3-mark close occasionally. But in this case,
not here.
Obviously going the 18s. And there you go. After that first trip, it was mathematical elimination, just about. So good shot there. It would have required a 3 in the bed there. And now eliminated from this leg. Meredith will get the advantage going to the break after a big reprieve at the end. Yeah,
we get a 4.0, a 4.05 round out from these ladies to take us to the break. My goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button, hit that share button. We are going to be back after this short break and a word from our players. Nick, send us to you.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see these ladies here. We're going to go ahead and send it right on over to me. We are here with the Blue Bonnet, Laine Lyzak, for week 2 of the WCS. And tonight, what vendor are you playing for and what bar are you playing out of?
I play for Star City Amusements, and I'll be playing out of Lone Star Ice House tonight.
And in week 1, you had a close affair of a match where the average difference between you and Jillian Phillips was 0.01 MPR difference. What was that match like?
It was tough. Every time I felt like I gave myself some room, she came right back at me and was like, nope, this is not going to be as easy as you think. And she really did give me a run for my money. And I think by leg 3, that if it kept going back and forth the way that it was, and I didn't excel a little bit more than I had in the last few legs, that she was going to take it from me.
And knowing how tough this field is and how it continues to get tougher and tougher, how does it feel knowing that each match is also going to get tougher and tougher as well throughout the season?
It's a little nerve-wracking, but I mean, that's why we do this, right? You play better to get better. And I truly believe that. I feel that if you just constantly go where you can win all the time, you're not going to actually improve your skills and how you play under pressure. I feel like I have become a really good pressure player in the last few years, playing a lot of tournaments and getting into those first and second place games, to where it's become a little bit easier for me to play somebody that I know is better and just go, hey, but I'm good too. And at any point in any time, on any day, anybody can be beat.
And somebody that needs to get beat tonight, if you want to continue on the winner side of the bracket, is Meradith McGee, a veteran of the sport. What's your game plan to come out on top tonight?
I would say my game plan is always relatively the same no matter who I'm playing, is try to come out strong from the get-go and make a run with it. But if not, then never stop fighting. I truly believe that the game's not over until the board says winner. And at that point, somebody can always make a comeback.
And with no partners this season, are you excited by the prospect of being able to show what you can do on your own, no partner beside you, in a long format match like this?
Absolutely. I feel like, not that the women relied on their partner by any means, but I feel like in a doubles event, you always kind of rely on your partner in some way, shape, or form. And while I loved having Soldier as my partner last season, I am really excited to show what I can do all by myself and just how good of a player I can be when given the opportunity to shine on my own.
Is there anything you want to say to your friends, fans, family, or anybody else watching at home?
I want to thank my amazing sponsors, Star City Amusements, Rick's Darts and Games, Shot Darts, and most of all, Team Lyzak. They are always there for me and have been since day one. I want to thank everybody that watches me online and roots for me. It really does mean a lot to me. And thank you for everybody that comes out to the bar to watch, because the crowd behind me is always what keeps me going.
We are excited to get this match going, as it's going to be an all-out brawl between you, and we're excited to see what you have in store for us, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck in tonight's match.
I'm Laine Lyzak, and you're watching the WCS.
Kairos, a range offering 2 different variants. Models 01 and 02 differ in weight options, length, and max diameter. The key similarity of all options is the unique torpedo shape and center ripsaw grip. Make no mistake, the center ripsaw milling feels like a 6 out of 5 for grip intensity. Those with rough hands struggling to grip the dart, Kairos might be perfect for you. Kairos by Winmore. Available now.
We are here with Meradith McGee for week 2 of the WCS. And Murph, what vendor do you play for, and what bar are you playing out of tonight?
I play for C&M Darts, and I'll be playing out of Trick Shots Metro West in Orlando.
And you came out of the gate swinging in week 1 by being one of 3 ladies to average over a 4. You came in at a 4.09, and you played Jamie Nowak. How did you feel in that match?
I just felt comfortable. I'm friends with Jamie, and I know that she's a good shot, and she started off a little slow, and then she got it together, and I had to raise my game to beat her, and she got really hot there for a while, and I just had to try a little harder, dig a little deeper, and make sure I came out on top.
And Laine Lyzak is an opponent to not take lightly. What's your game plan to come out on top tonight?
Laine's a really good, really solid shot. My game plan has been in the planning stages pretty much all day. I've been trying to avoid doing anything stupid, so I've been laying down so that I don't end up on the ground, and I have protective measures to make sure that I don't hurt myself right before I compete, like I did 2 months ago.
A throwback to the walk-ons there over in TOC. Absolutely incredible. And is there anything you want to say to your friends, fans, family, or anybody else watching along?
Thank you for watching. I'm going to try not to break my hand on the way to to Trick Shots tonight. I've got an ambulance coming to pick me up. They're just going to wheel me right out. I hope people will be watching and have a good time. I hope it's a fun match and competitive, and there's a lot of excitement.
Well, there is plenty of excitement to be had here, and we're excited to kick off week 2 of the WCS. And Murph, we wish you nothing but the best of luck with your match.
Thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back in action here at the WCS week number 2. Meradith McGee, Laine Lyzak, 3-2 lead here for Meradith over Laine. It's been quite a battle early on in this one. Sean Green joined by Nick Durachi Teixeira. Nick, Laine's performed at a pretty high level compared to last week, and I'm impressed early on. Meredith, though, with the advantage.
Yeah, wholeheartedly, Laine's doing everything right. And we talked about it earlier. She needed to get that jump early. Meredith doesn't want this to be too close of a matchup here. If you told me a 0.9 separation, if I didn't know these players, that it's only a 3-2 difference and a very convincingly close match, leg in, leg out, I'd say you're crazy. But right now, what we're seeing is everything going right for Laine and Meredith. I mean, I don't think there's a lot going wrong for her either. This has just been a straight up good match.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you completely. It's we've seen a couple 9 marks in that last leg from Meredith on the 18s. And that last 9 mark on the 18s was humongous in round 19. She definitely protected her arm today. We saw that in the interview.
She absolutely did. I can't believe the injury she's had.
So wonderful.
And the injury that happened at the TOC. You know what's cool though is that was our third time doing TOC, right?
Yep.
And it was absolutely insane to see the difference between when we first started doing walk-ons to where we're at now with these players, man. I absolutely love the energy in the room that happens with all of them.
Yeah, they all come up with fun stuff, which is great because it takes a lot of pressure off of me. It's a little bit of pressure to have to sit there and announce all the players out there in front of everybody, which is the weird part. With a voice that I don't usually use, as I think my students still think I was using a voice changer during that. But it's a deeper part of my voice, I guess. But it is definitely nerve-wracking. To say the least. So when the players come out and they have a great time with it, it really makes things so much easier on me because then I can just relax and have a good time too. Because we don't need to take it all seriously. We want it to be a great production, but in our way.
Well, it's also, I mean, think about it. When you watch any other professional sport, a lot of these athletes have media training. They work through with their PR reps. They get the personality. A lot of times they also got that money that gives them the bougie personality a little bit, the little eccentric taste, if you will. And so for their players, for the most part, that isn't the case, unless you're in the PDC top of the top level, and even then probably not. So it's really cool to see the personalities really shine for these players and really normalizing being on camera, playing on stream, doing interviews, doing goofy walk-ons. I mean, do you know how uncomfortable I imagine it feels to be told, hey, do some action shots and some B-roll shots, and now that's just a thing where players are like, all right, I guess we're going to do that. Yep.
And I actually can tell you that PDC professionals do go through media training, or at least they have the option to. It was one of the things that back in the day they definitely did not have, which is why you saw a majority of interviews with Phil Taylor and Wayne Martle, because they were personalities that were willing to give interviews like that. It's what made Wayne's career as a commentator, was his ability to do interviews and his willingness to learn how to do them properly. Honestly, so much work has gone into Wayne Martle being as good as he is as a commentator. I can tell you that the personality is one thing, but the amount of training that he has gone through and done on his own to be as good as he is now is tremendous. But yeah, so they definitely do have that opportunity, but we do not.
No,
he's my favorite play-by-play guy. Which is actually weird that I call him that, but I think that he would consider himself more of a play-by-play versus a color guy at the end of the day. But it depends on who he works with. He can do both really, really well.
I will say a peek behind the curtain here for the production that we do is like, and why these players have to kind of get more and more comfortable with us, and they have no choice to because we're always just around. Is Jen Mounts and I walked out and tried to grab photos of the players before the women's and men's CSIs, and those flyers you've been seeing on your dartboard, those ones that came out the day of when like the winner $10,000, a majority of those pictures were taken with us saying, okay, give us a fake celebration pose here. And then like we would go and like take pictures, and like some of those shots were starting to get staged just for those flyers, mind you, not anything else. Right. But it's one of those things where you don't think about stuff like that, but that's something that's things players in the PDC have to have media time where they have to go and do X amount of shots, X amount of photos, X amount of whatever. And it's really cool to see that starting to transition into our North American game.
Yeah, and fun fact, I look like a scary, scary human being when I celebrate a winning dart.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
It shocked me to see that picture. I was like, that's not a celebration. Back to the match. Laine Lyzak is just staying a scotch ahead of Meradith in this leg right after the break. Meradith only shooting a 2.25 so far. And there is the close from Laine, and she's fine hitting 3 singles, especially on the 18s. Just get rid of those bad boys.
Yeah, so far, Laine just continuing to show consistency in these crucial turns where she needs to hit the 3 big singles, where she needs to find a 4 mark on the points. Those are the runs that make the difference. Meradith has shown the higher explosivity, if that's a word. And
yep,
so
it is.
Explosiveness is probably the better way to word that.
Nope.
Oh, no, I got it.
No, you were great. That was wonderful, actually.
So she's definitely had those higher highs, and it's going to be one of those things where she needs to work on these lows. Right now, she's in 1.
Yeah, and again, I made a mention of this last week. Her lowest average in a leg was a 3.3. We've already seen a few legs drop well below that in this match. So while her A game has been there in a couple legs, her C and D game has also been there in a couple of legs, and she can't let Laine win legs that Meradith would normally win if the averages were where Meradith usually plays. If she does that too many times, Laine's going to win this match.
And it makes me wonder if it was some week 1 nerves, because both Jillian Phillips and Laine Lyzak being at 3.12 and a 3.13 is below where I would expect either one of them. I would find both of them typically in the 3.5s if I had to put a wager on it. And so it was insane to see that. And you have to wonder if that was just a little bit of week 1 nerves. I mean, again, a lot of these ladies really wanted this. And there's no lady that's mad about this opportunity existing. And it's one of those things where you're like, you want to win the first women's singles done by PPD, the remote stream since pre-COVID, right? And before that, those original dominations, I could tell you as someone that commentated a handful of those matches, it was at the height of the Kelly Mears domination era. So you saw a lot of Kelly Mears, Chrissy Grimmel battles back then. And this year, I mean, we're looking at like against newcomers like Laine Lyzak. I mean, she was only a couple years into playing the game at that point, you know, and you look at Shea Cole making her appearance over in the soft tip realm and really getting into it. The possibilities are endless with where the women's game is right now.
Yeah, week 1 week 1's like any other first match of a tournament that you get into. Survive. And a lot of times it is just that. You survive that first match, typically not throwing your best. And then you start to figure it out as the weeks go on. And I think we saw that a little bit from Laine last week, and we're seeing a much better version of her this week. But she can't start to do this, because this is one of those moments where if Meradith is able to win this leg, that's an escape for Meradith, which started off pretty poorly early on in this match, or in this leg.
Wholeheartedly agree. And this is an opportunity Meredith's going to be happy to take. She should switch to the 20s here. She wants to stay. She's finding more on those 16s. She ends up getting 6. The only reason I call for that 20 switch there is because once you hit that trip 15, if you hit 2 single 20s there, pushing Laine to the 17s, requiring her to hit a perfect 5, completely kind of changes the pressure of the game. But in this case, it looks like she made the right decision with Laine only grabbing a single 20.
Yeah. Laine has a little hop to her throw sometimes, and timing of that hop is important, because if she does it after she releases the dart, it's fine. But she's starting to do it a little bit before she's releasing those darts to the 20. You're starting to see them go a little wild. Other than that, her form, of course, is textbook. So if she keeps that foot planted on the ground, she'll be just fine. And again, for me, it was someone with a throw that's textbook, or very technically sound, that's what I'm talking about. I would find the little small thing like that, like keeping my foot planted on the ground, as my only swing thought, so to speak.
I'll go even further than that. I don't, other than in between the turns occasionally, I will say, all right, what went wrong there? But as a player, if you want to know exactly what I'm thinking when I'm throwing, it's as simple as I'm just trying to remember to look at the number. When you start thinking about all these different things, sometimes your eyes aren't even focusing on what you're throwing at. And that's what these girls are doing when they lock in. Meredith, on the other hand, she is absolutely thinking about every idiosyncrasy of her throw.
Yep. Which, again, that's why she's does that, though, in the right way, where she is a deliberate dart player. She waits until her throw feels good enough for her to throw, and then she's going to throw that dart. Which is really the only way you can play that way.
I like that shot right there from Murph grabbing the 17 close. Unfortunately, that first dart not going her direction there makes it a little bit scarier of a position than she would prefer. Laine needs to get these 15s. She drops it on the last.
Yeah, and you see the shake of the head from her. Frustration setting in for the blue bonnet.
Yeah, this has definitely not been one of her best legs, which is crazy to say because of how well she started off in it. Meredith needs to either just grab 3 15s. I think you start right there. If you grab a single, you stay.
Yeah.
Now you can bail back to the 16 here. Find your comfort shot.
Especially where that first starts laying. That is blocking that triple.
I would stay. She does.
Yeah. I honestly don't even think she had an option. I really think that was that blocked.
I would say you're probably not wrong there. But in either case, there's nothing wrong with grabbing a few more points towards the tail of a leg. And that dart looked like it was blocked and swung down underneath.
See, but I like that lay of that dart more than I like Meredith's. It just that bottom corner right outside the triple 10. It seems for me all the time to lay right across the entire triple. Where if I'm in the triple 10, at least like I have that front part of the triple to aim at.
Well, and that's also the difference between a physical blocker and a visual blocker, right?
Yeah.
When it's bottom side, you still got good visual on the 15, but could easily be more of a physical. You can fling your dart up. If it's the top corner, it's hanging over. You can't really see it. For me, it's all about visual eye contact with my target.
Yep.
Laine pushed against the wall here. Could be a very costly break of throw. Would give Meredith a 4-2 lead. And with it being a race of 7, I mean, you're getting in a pretty comfortable position when it's only just a 2-leg difference. It's the difference between a 17 leg versus a 13 leg format.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of going up 5-3, maybe even 5-2 in the race to 9 format. And Meredith, it's done 2 darts, made that look nice and clean. And after the start of that leg, she struggled there for the first few rounds. To pick it up to a 3-4-3 was impressive. Against the throw, she's up 4-2, bud.
Yeah, but I don't think Laine's too worried about it. She just needs to not remember this last leg there. You can't hyperfixate on the average because when her mentality has been clear, it's apparent. You can tell when her darts are just flowing. And overall, she's still an absolute threat in this matchup here. She just needs to remember that herself.
Yeah, and honestly, it's nice. The start's always comfortable for her because she plays a lot of steel tips. So those 20s are going to be something she shoots at very often when she's practicing or playing darts in general. It's good to see the 5 mark from her.
These ladies are both products of being in highly contested areas of top level talent, right? You know, Florida is probably a lot of people's debatable number 1 for women's darts. And you have, you know, your Chrissy, your Kelly, Caitlin Myers, countless others as well. Playing in that Florida range, Paula Murphy, of course. And then you look over at Laine and you have your Cheyenne Richards, you have your Chrissy Davises, and you have all these other ladies out there. It's the idea of iron sharpens iron, and simply when you have a lot of these ladies playing at the best of their ability, it produces greatness.
Boom goes the dynamite there for Laine Lyzak. The blue bonnet gets her first. And man, preach to the choir, Nick Teixeira. Hotbeds of fantastic top quality dart players. If you're in those areas, you either get better or what are you doing playing darts, right? Because you have to. If you're competitive at all, you're going to get better just by being in those areas for darts. Automatically, it's going to make you a better dart player.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why you just need to not be afraid to play up, to play competition, to really take your lessons every now and again, as you can put it, right? And these ladies aren't. They're not afraid to play anybody. They don't care, man, woman, child. They will play the same. As Laine's on a tear this leg.
667 for Laine Lyzak. Russ Lyzak says, Laine was born in Hollywood, Florida. Could have been Hollywood Lyzak, but that's fine. Those are the two L's back to back too for Laine Lyzak. God, never mind.
Because of Meradith breaking the throw in the previous leg, she's in a position though where like Laine's having a absolute firecracker of a leg here, and now it's a situation where Meradith can afford to lose this leg, although she would not like to. When your opponent's throwing a 6-6-7, you kind of just accept that you're probably going to lose the leg and you're going to go on to the next. Meredith's not going to feel concerned about this position yet. Laine just needs to say, I'm going to keep doing this. This is way better than last leg. I love it.
It's like Happy Gilmore was like, man, I should just make it a hole in one every time. So much easier than putting. Yeah, it's a good call. Yeah, shooting a 6.0 is much easier than playing a very tight leg of darts. And Laine is proving that here. And yeah, you're right. Meredith her opponent's going first of all. She has a 2-leg advantage on it. This is fine. If it was a last leg decider, it's a big deal. But right this second, Murph's gonna be like, all right, at least it wasn't the last leg decider. She's doing that.
And Murph's a very positive player. Like, yeah, she'll get hard on herself. She'll yell at herself just like anybody else does when they're playing a competitive dart match from time to time. But she's also she's very pragmatic in that sense. She's going to laugh it off. She's going to be thinking, all right, it's my turn to do that, right? That's the mentality you need to have when this is happening. And vice versa. If you're Laine, you're smiling. You're loving every bit of this, right? Both of these players having the right mentality in this moment here. And I'm really curious to see how this will translate over to the next leg here, as 2 bulls needed for Miss Lyzak.
Yeah, I saw earlier there was a comment that was made by Jax who was saying Meredith is very serious when she's throwing. You can see actually Mark's coaching Murph right the second with her throw. It's great to have that for her. And Laine's being real loose and talking to everybody, but that's what their personalities when they play darts. Laine's a talker. Laine's going to sit there and talk to the people around her. Even though she wears headphones and stuff like that, she almost pauses them while she's in between throws. Meredith is going to stay focused at that dartboard. If she, because of her condition, her ADHD, she has to, right? Like, or else she's going to be off.
And to point out why you're so right on that given call there, Sean, is the fact that when Meredith and I played together at TOC, where we got 3rd place together, we were in a last chance match as Laine does make this 4-3. We were in a
big round.
Last chance match, and between her and I's ADHD, we spent so long talking with the other team that not one of us missed our turn, not 2, not 3, but all 4 of us missed our turn because we were talking so much. And since we all 4 missed a turn, we just said, I guess that's fair, and we kept on playing the last like one and done game. I just want to let you know that's how it is when she's not locked in, and so she knows what she needs to do, and she's doing everything right in that sense.
Sorry, Jen. They looked like headphones. They must just be really nice earrings. Until I said they look great.
Meredith starting off with some heat here, saying it's my turn to do something cool. Finds a 6 to get things going.
Good start. That coaching from Mark helped a little bit there. It must have. At least that's what Mark's saying right now.
Well, they met through darts, and look at this from Laine.
Boom goes the dynamite, the blue bonnet.
Another one. Lyzak gets it in.
It is better. Dang it. That's the 4th on the night. Laine has 2. Murph has 2.
I'm happy to be anybody's spirit animal. Thank you, Melanie. I am always
have no idea why, do you?
Nope, not a clue. What'd I do? Hope I did some funny.
I don't know either. But Nick, I've said many times that you are a lot of people's spirit animals because a lot of people would love to have your energy and personality every second of every day like you do. And they just can't because, that's just not how people operate normally. So you're the spirit animal because you are the ever-reaching goal of spirit in life.
Let me tell you, when you have a personality and mentality like mine, it's just exhausting. I'm tired all the time from being me. Let me tell you, if I could take breaks on Tuesdays, I would, but no breaks for the Nick DeShares of the world.
There's no rest for the wicked, my friend. Speaking of wicked, here's Reagan Windsor in the chat. Reagan, what's up? The best trips partner we've ever had. Big 9 mark follow from Meradith. Boom goes the dynamite. There's been 2 in this leg.
Wasn't she
One
the
by
only
each
trips
player
partner we've ever had?
Yeah, that's what makes her the best so far. That being said, we could have used Mike Maloney. Or not Mike Maloney. Who didn't have a team? Oh, Doug Bain. You should have picked Doug Bain instead of me, by the way. He really doesn't have a name, but he's pretty good. Murph, looking at the 18s, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, she's going to.
Mark, can I tell you how much I love you when you say boom?
She has been lighting up these 18s. I'm not surprised by her start there, but I also would want her to bail out fairly quickly, and that's exactly what's happening here. She's having a little bit of trouble, though, and this is going to be an opportunity for Laine. And really, what's been killing Laine tonight is the 19s and 18s, and Meredith has been loving them. But pretty much Laine's felt great everywhere else on the board, it seems.
Yeah, Mark's going to have to watch out. Meredith spent way too much time with the neighbors there in that leg, or in that throw.
Good find there. Does stay for 2.
Great 6.
Woo-hoo.
Makes her pay for the open.
Cam says the best in chat. The ladies are shooting great tonight. They absolutely are. I can't say this enough. They want to put on a good show for you guys. They really desire to, and they absolutely are doing that. Even last week, it's not about the stats. The storyline in that last leg decider and everything else that led up to it between Hunter Smith and Alyssa Evans, incredible. It's just incredible.
Yeah, I actually went back and looked. Alyssa had the 3rd lowest average and Hunter had the 7th, right? So they're both in the bottom 8 of averages. I would have never have guessed that. In 100 years, I would have never guessed they were both near the bottom of averages last week because of just how fun it was and how competitive it felt like that entire match was. To where like numbers didn't even seem to really matter on the screen. Porky! Hi, buddy.
Meredith has an opportunity after that round of the 18s not going in the favor. She's not happy with that first start there. That was definitely at the 20 trying to drill it there. She needs to reset. Try to figure out where she wants to go with this remaining dart. She finds that trip 20. Now's the moment where you can take that swing 18. There. 2 trips wouldn't get the point lead. She does still stay for the comfort shot there. You find 1, you might find 2. I get it. But honestly, if you're Murph, you kind of have to start questioning, is fatigue going to be a factor when it comes to the pain with her wrist, right? And I say that for the simple fact is the longer you focus on these more traditional point-heavy strategies, the longer the match goes.
Do you think, and I'm being honest with this question because I really don't know the answer, I don't think. Do you think with like adrenaline and stuff like that of being in the middle of a match that might not really make the pain factor in very much? Or, I mean, I know it's a fractured wrist. It's not like it's a little thing, but I really don't know that answer. And that's why I'm asking, because darts is a little bit different than other sports, right? And she's a very deliberate player anyway.
I would have to say it lessens it, it dampens it. But because, I mean, how many times have you been out throwing and all of a sudden once you got knocked out term, you didn't realize how tired you were, right? It's the same idea when it comes to something like this. I'll tell you, I'm a bigger dude and I put all my weight on my front foot. At the end of the day, my knee hurts. I didn't realize that until the match was over and I was done for the day, walking back to the hotel room. I'm like, oh man, I'm a little sore here. And I realized that's why I'm an athlete.
Well, I fully agreed with everything that you just said. And I mean everything. And I agree with you as far as like the next day pains or like the morning pains that come out of nowhere are very real. For me, it's because I'm old. For you, I'm old and out of shape, so it's really a twofold for me. It's actually surprising that my arm gets sore. I don't really play very long in tournaments. You can see there's going to be a change here to a 6 mark.
And it's a crucial 6 mark.
Yeah, very big.
If a Murph has a bad round here, it gives her an opportunity in the next round to at least chip away. If she bagels, she would have an opportunity to close out everything as well. So Meredith, quick to just go ahead and reverse that dart here.
I love Mark in the chat. This is almost like a dad answer, right? Like like a dust it off, rub some dirt on it. So she's fine. She will play best of 20 and want to play after.
Not wrong though. Meredith has used to long days of darts. Salted players and North Americans in general are just used to long days of darts. As Meredith says, you can have those extra 45 points. I'm just going to close it anyways. And she's looking good in this leg to go up 5-3.
Yeah, she does have that lead too on the points. So just a double bull needed. Oh, I gave her 20.
Good.
I love it. Steve, I always say I show my students a picture of me at the age of 18, and I go, this is when I was in shape and not a shape. And that's my go-to joke every year.
Is it those one I sent my profile picture to? Is it that picture? One where you had a hairline?
No. Oh, maybe. The long hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big fan. Big fan of long hair, Sean.
Yeah, listen. Me too. I wish he could come back, but he can't. Physically, that is not possible, sir. So we're gonna have to deal with Hat Sean probably, because none of the haircuts I asked for seem to work either, and none of the products seem to make it any better. 4-5 for Meredith. Let's call it that, and it is now a 5-3 lead for Meredith McGee.
Think about it. My hair is the same length as yours right now, but no one comments about your hair nearly as much as they've been bullying mine this last 2 weeks. So,
well, all mine's on my face. That's where it really is. So
I've invested.
We do have the same amount of hair, but mine's mostly on the face.
I've been big on beanie.
Yeah, you're a beanie guy this year.
Well, not like in preparation,
like hipster beanie or skull cap.
Hipster beanie for sure.
Yeah, I could see you rocking a hipster beanie.
My most listened to genre this year on Spotify was called Midwest Emo, folks. Of course, it was going to be a hipster beanie.
Oh. Weirdly enough, can never pull that off. I don't know what it was. Probably the cool factor for me, but I did have a mohawk at one point in my life, the age of 19.
Really?
Yeah. For about 2 weeks is as long as I could keep it without, before I had to get rid of it, just because I was tired of getting looks from people.
That happened with me.
And I really mean that.
Grade.
But what was the problem for you?
Just didn't take off. It was very complicated. Sunset Park Elementary. All right. There's a whole thing going on there. Oh, incredible. I hope you guys are having a good time. I hope you know.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
We're having a lot of fun here, and we're having a lot of fun because this match has been great. You guys have been great. Will's not messed up a single thing tonight. Not one. He's actually taking some time with the family. He's about to be gone for a couple of weeks overseas, and figured with everything that's going on, I honestly was kind of itching to get in the commentary booth anyways. And I'm happy to be here with you guys. You're gonna be stuck with me and Sean here for the next couple episodes for that same reason as well, unless we maybe find a special guest or two.
Yeah, we're going to need to after this week, and then you announcing there's just going to be the two of us next week too, because no one's going to watch that. I don't care if it is Chrissy taking on either OT or Alyssa. No one's going to want to watch it because it's just us doing this again. Honestly, listen, guys. Sometimes I just want to talk to my friend about life and hair, and you guys get to hear those conversations.
Life, hair, and the pursuit of darts.
That being said, if there is anyone that wants to reach out to Nick personally about wanting to be in a commentary booth next week, just do so. His personal phone number is... I'm just kidding. I'm never going to do that.
Boom goes the dynamite for Meredith McGee there.
Hey!
Needed perfection, found perfection.
And you know what? She has timed those so well tonight. It hasn't been that she's hit them. She hit one early in a leg, and then she hit the 3 18s in the 19th round, and then she hit a 9 mark right after Laine hit a 9 mark, and then this one right here when she needed to get back into the leg. She has timed them very well, which is a big part of that. A big part of it.
Well, we've said the adage of, oh, there's no such thing as a bad 9 mark. That's not true. There's times where it just doesn't make a difference. It doesn't push the envelope. And then when you have a good 9 mark, that's probably just the average 9 mark. But when you have an exceptional 9 mark, it's because the timing of it significantly mattered, and it turns this match around just a little bit in this given leg here. If she goes up 6-3, I mean, she's basically, I wouldn't say guaranteed the match, but she's in a great position to take it.
Yeah, the only thing I will say, Laine last week was up 6-3 against Jillian Phillips. Jillian won those next 3 legs on the spin. So Laine's been in this position in front, so she's seen her opponent come back on her, right? So she's going to have that in the back of her mind, the possibility of it, I think, a little bit more, having that experience last week. If this becomes a 6-3 ball game, which is looking more and more likely with every dart that Meradith throws. The Floridian is firing on all cylinders. Jaxie knows the 14-year-olds are watching, so he's not going to
I was literally about to make that same comment. Yeah. I know my audience.
PG-14 is the rating here tonight. So you don't even have to ask mom or dad if you can watch the stream, buddy. We made that rating just for you.
That's right. As Meradith trying to take this leg just for her, 5.2 to the 3.67. She's had control, and this is one of those shots where you can start those 17s. You hit that single, you can go for the stay. We'll see what she does here. She's done a great job of really staving off the very informed Laine Lyzak tonight. Laine has been nothing short of impressive, and I said it from the beginning. The stat sheet was lying about where this match would go, and she's showing why she's a tough competitor. And this is going to be one of those moments where it's going to test her resilience now.
Yeah, she has shot 1 leg in the 2 so far tonight. She has shot exceptionally well this evening. She has raised her game to a level to be competitive with Meradith. And if Meredith's timing wasn't as good as it's been, I believe this is an even closer ballgame than it is right now. But Laine fires at a 7 when she needs one.
Well, Laine's also had the only breakaway leg. Every one of these legs has been competitive down to the corner pockets. And Laine is the one that had that 6-0 game where she was dominating going into the bulls. Every other one of these legs has been back and forth, back and forth. And when you have this many legs where it's a coin toss, there's only so many times you can flip heads in a row.
And you're coming up with some great Sid Waddell one-liners here tonight, bud.
Thank you. I will say I've been thinking about coin tosses way more and more since playing the new Pokemon TCG Pocket. That's a lot of coin tosses in that game.
And you blew it. You compared you to Sid Waddell, and
snap back to reality, and oops, there goes gravity.
And oops, he did it again, folks. As Laine's going to look at a lot of 16s. The over adjustment on dart 2. I always will say that the 16s and 15s are the hardest darts to adjust when you miss the first one. She does find it on dart 3, but is down 31 points.
Yeah, that big trip on the last was a big collect there. Meradith will need to stay focused to make sure she gets the close, and she's going to want to push off with a little bit more points here too. She's going for the aggressive 15 play. Good marker dart to find the trip here. She does get the close. This is a big risk if you go for this close in the last start. You leave a 9 mark for your opponent, or an effective 8 mark in this case.
Do it. Do it.
You rip some more points here.
Do it.
You leave the shot for the next go.
She's going to do it. She didn't do it. Good dart. Smart dart. It really was a smart dart.
Oh, yeah, you have
honestly,
to, right?
If my opponent shoots that dart on me in dart 3 and hits the double 16, I'm furious, right?
Whoa.
Like, I'm like, why did the dart gods make that work out? She did not look for the 9. She looked to stay points the whole time. Yeah, I agree with you, especially with it being the 18s. And I think if it's Meradith, I think that she thinks about punishing opponents when they do stuff like that.
She absolutely is thinking about something like that. Here's your mentality. And go back. I made a video about the 15s and 16s, breaking down John Pilgrim and Zach Fuchs. Talked about this exact kind of scenario. If you're tripping the 16 the first start, you might not have a better opportunity to take away advantage from your opponent. If you're going to stay at the 16, you better find 9, because the only reason you're doing that is to give yourself a point lead going into the shot. And it's high risk, high reward. In this case, the reward is on the table still if Meredith doesn't find this last start trip.
That first start messed with her because you can see how it's covering the 18. I don't know how much it looks to her like it's covering it, but typically in soft tip, that's an awkward way for the dart to land. And she does bail to the 15s, I think, because of that exact reason. You're right, Nick. But Laine, big opportunity now.
Yeah, this is what you fought for. You have to shoot this.
She's
don't
not.
agree with that first.
You are so upset.
It's
I
just
love
one of those
it.
things where Laine has every ability to win this leg, and she has the throw to do it too. It's just a strategic decision where if you start 18 or 15 there, you find that first trip. Now, granted, if you hit a single, doesn't matter. Then you go back to the points anyways. But you're not going to have too many opportunities to approach with the point lead down 2 numbers where your opponent has the higher grounds. I'll die on this hill. Trip 13.
Oh, there's the 18s. Oh no, she went for a Maloney double.
She hasn't done that almost the
not
whole
Meredith
night.
Maloney.
Meredith Maloney, I think you just gave her a nightmare.
She thought Mark back there was Mike for a second. And then last start, she didn't even. It kind of frazzled her so much that she didn't really know what to do.
Laine finds the first start trip. She's going to stay.
She's going to stay again. Yep. At least she's being consistent, right?
It is consistent, but this is the third opportunity where you had an opportunity to close out your opponent with the point lead going into the bulls. You're only going to get so many of those. And I'm not trying to disparage her as a player. She's a very talented player. But it's one of those things where if you're in that moment as the player, it's hard to realize what you're doing. And then if you saw someone else doing it, you're standing behind the Aki, you would say, hey, why wouldn't you take that swing? You know, it's one of those things where you're caught up in the adrenaline in the moment. She's trying to find that comfort shot.
I hate to almost disagree with you here, but I think because that we know that there are at least 2 people sitting back there that are listening to our broadcast, I think that she knows your strategy option and she's still choosing the other one because they're going to be quick to, I think, at least talk about it with her would be my guess. She's staying solid on this.
And there's,
I think she wants 2 triples before she even moves. And that's, you know what? Right now it's paying off, but you're giving Meredith fire to play with.
Exactly. That's the problem is really what's happening right now is Meredith has not found that big round to punish a shot like this. She's found a lot of consistent 4s and 3s, not the big 6 or 7 that would swing that momentum. And Laine is throwing consistently 5s at the 16 pretty much. But it's the lower number. It's the harder long con. And this is where Meredith takes that swing.
And she hit herself a triple there. 6 mark for Meradith McGee as Laine heads into the bulls. Uh-oh. Okay, we're good. Phew.
Russ,
I lost everybody for a second.
Russ brings up a great point there. And I wholeheartedly still agree with this. It doesn't matter what the correct strategy is in the moment where you are right now. If you're Laine, the comfortable shot is the priority shot. You have to be comfortable with what you're shooting at, or you shouldn't even consider shooting at it. But this is more so when you watch back this match, if you were taking notes on what you could have done differently, incorporate something like that into your strategy. Start thinking about those scenarios. It's not to change it now. At this point, I'm not going to tell Laine to change her average or her strategy mid-match. It's something that you think about later on when you're talking about progressing your own game.
Yep. Again, it could always be the right shot, and it's definitely always the right shot if you hit it. So
she's good enough to hit it.
If Laine's 9 marking those 16s, she's not. We're not arguing about it anymore because it works out either way, right? But what you're talking about is just the opportune shot in that situation. And it's okay to talk about it as a commentator, the opportunity or the right shot in that situation. It doesn't mean that it's the right shot in that moment. But for the situation, it typically works probability in her favor. And now it's a 6-3 lead for Murph, which is a dangerous spot for Laine to be in. She cannot lose another one. Seven's the race to here, folks.
That's the other factor is think about that. Murph is on match point. When you're on match point, and it doesn't matter about that given scenario, it doesn't matter who you are. When you're Meradith, you don't have to take any risks. You get to play conservative darts, and you get to try to win a leg with the higher average. Nothing fancy needed. Laine there, honestly, your whole play is, okay, if I don't win this leg and I'm down, I need to win 4 on the spin now for the match, and she only needs to win 1, you take a risk. I think that's when you gamble the most, is in scenarios like that. When it's a close match, I'm not gambling. But when it's a separated match like this, yeah, I want to take some risk here and try to steal legs. And in that leg, it wasn't even be a steal. They were pretty much heads up there.
Yeah, and also if she hits that shot right and does make it 5-4 instead of 6-3, how much momentum shift that really is as a boost. But now we got to forget about it, and especially because she's got to forget about it, especially with the start here from Meradith.
Again, it's about holding her to a high standard because she's a talented shot, and both these girls have really been putting on quite the show for us tonight. And I'm excited to continue to see how Laine develops, how Meradith develops in this bracket, the storylines that come to be. Because let me tell you, anybody that looked at the stat sheet, like I said, would not have called this match in this direction. But anybody that knows Laine or is familiar with her would have known that, hey, there's going to be something here, and this match easily could be a neck and neck match, tied scoreline, with how many of those legs were, again, coin tosses.
And again, timed right by Meradith a lot of the time with a big shot at the right moment. It's that one kissed off the flight and went low. So gift from the dart gods for Laine here.
Yeah, bail to keep the dreams alive.
And she is taketh on that gift. Big 7. And again, last start, you see her not switch to the 20s, take the shot again at the 19. So that just seems to be the style that she's going to play at. And knowing that is part of the game, right? Knowing how you're going to, if you're just someone who's comfortable pointing, high ground, low ground, doesn't matter, then do that. Do your thing, especially with an X on the 19s too there, which is a big factor.
I do want to let everyone know, you see that little shake of the camera at Trick Shots. They are currently playing Who Ya Foolin' by Gunna. Is currently the song playing at Trick Shots Metro West.
What is the actual, where is it at in the song so we can all play it at the same time with them?
I don't know exactly where it's at in the song. I did find that out using my handy dandy TouchTunes app, though, because if you've been to the location before, you can pull that stuff up. That is where I normally play League out of. At least I have with Austin Braswell. I played League out of there. I played with Meredith out of there. I played with Chrissy out of there before, too.
Do they have your autograph yet there?
My autograph at Trick Shots Metro West?
Yeah, have you signed the bathroom stall or anything?
Everyone that's ever seen me at that bar knows that I was the kid that definitely was allowed to be snuck in underage and did not drink, but just to play darts. And no, I'm not signing any walls around there. That's for dang sure.
Well, then just sign it the kid, and they'll know.
The boy. I was never the kid. That's Jack.
Oh, the boy.
No, he's Young Gun. Laine needs to find a big collect here. She's starting to get to that back against the wall kind of moment, and she's done a good job of staying collected for the most part. And just a case of the wires fighting against her. The 4 mark there doesn't feel like enough when you're going against someone throwing a 4.75.
Yeah, and man, again, form-wise, when she releases that dart perfectly and it snaps into the board like that on the 17, that last dart, it looks so pretty. And just to have the ability to be able to throw like that is rare. Like Reagan Windsor in person, when you watch her throw, she has that release where it pops into the board, even though it looks nice and smooth as it releases from her hand. Laine has that. Meradith is all about feel. Right?
Oh yeah,
she is a field dart player and makes that work for her. There's a lot of great field dart players. Michael Van Gerwen is a field dart player. He does not aim the darts. He has made that perfectly clear many times. Michael Smith can't possibly be an aimer of the dart with how he throws. Right? It's whatever your style is, being consistent with that style, and either way works. Right now, we're seeing it work for Meradith.
Well, we are also
4-4 in this leg.
We're seeing some tenacity from Laine here, though. She's still not giving up. You can tell her body language. While she is a little less jovial than she was before, there's also a little bit less people that were sitting there earlier. I think for the most part, she's just being pragmatic. She's being focused this whole time, and she's not really wavering too much in the hands of adversity here.
No, and Laine won't, right? And it's one of the great things about Laine as a dart player and as a human, is that she is going to be gracious in whichever way the match falls, and has always shown that.
And when
you have as respected as of a dart family as the Lyzaks are, that's what you come to expect, right?
Oh, certainly the case there. Meredith trying to
not,
get this one sealed away. That's also true. That is also true. You imagine going to your Thanksgiving and having to hear about your, or this case, Christmas dinner or whatever it may be, and having to hear about notes on your performance because of the other players in your family giving you feedback.
Love it. Murph is a 15 close away from sealing this bad boy up pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely a great performance by both these girls, and Meredith showing her veteran nature, kind of just reigning true at the end here. The scoreline is not representative to how close this match was and is.
No, not at all.
It's still not
and
over.
It might not be over yet. Oh, big 7. We almost counted out a Texan. We can't do that.
Well, it's also one of those shots, you look at that 7, and that's one of those shots that you're like, okay, I still need some help from my opponent. I need them to miss here. But if they do miss, it gives you an opportunity to keep your entire match alive. And all the pressure's on Meredith right now to collect a big 3 mark. 2 singles on one of her numbers and a single 15. There's the first single.
Let's give her the 15 here.
She drops it, though. She drops it. You can't drop that dart. This is your favor. This is your moment, Laine. No matter what Murph does on this last start here, you have an opportunity to take some control.
Preach what to do.
And that
she does close the 15 instead. Now it's easy.
I don't mind that close. I don't mind that just because 4-3 on the Bulls is a comfortability shot. But in the same vein, Laine, just stay true. 2 big singles. I don't even care if you trip to 20. You just try to stay true. Big single.
And that's exactly what she's doing there.
Big triple
there you go.
for the
Trip
fun.
18. Oh, just on the bottom wire. Oh, that had to look so good in the air, too.
It looked good on the air. It looked good on the airwaves. It looked good everywhere. As now Meradith McGee just needs to brush her hair and find this trip 18. I tried to keep rhyming. It didn't work.
That's fair.
Hey, that's the word I was looking for.
Did you see what I did there?
Okay, stop it, English teacher. It's not as cool now. You thought Blue Bonnet was 2 separate words, dummy.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Meredith trying to push away. She needs to find a triple on this last start now. She wants to add an extra bull here. Don't think about that math.
Yep, winning darts here. Well, she's not going to be happy with that dart no matter what it was at. I like the regroup there.
I do as well.
I don't know if I don't like the close the 18s, though.
Yeah, and that's a fair point, Sean, because of the fact that Meredith has been lighting up the 18s. That miss was pretty rare for her. And if you close it, you're forcing Murph to just hit 3 bulls, and Laine can hit 4 bulls. The round out's not in play here. If I'm Meredith, I'm tripping that 18. I don't even care if I bow single or double bull. If I trip that 18, then I can look at bulls all day long.
Yep.
She's starting, though, because she's
confident.
confident.
Bulls first.
Wow.
And she should be, as she does take it out in 2. 3-9-3. Meradith McGee defeats Laine Lyzak 7-3. Wow. Again, hats off to Murph first and foremost. Threw phenomenal against a in-form Laine Lyzak. Murph had to time those perfectly for some of those wins, and she did exactly that at the right time. Every 9 mark was meaningful tonight that she hit. in big moments. But yeah, hats off to her. Laine, though, whoever's on that loser side that gets Laine, I'd be worried because that's not 3-1-2 Laine. That's for sure. What'd she average?
She averaged good is what she did, as I had no idea. But
that's right. I forgot you didn't have it.
Great send over. No, that was an incredible matchup from these ladies. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hop on my high horse here for a second. I want to let everybody know that there's still 500 plus people watching here. There is so much action to be had in this women's challenger series. These ladies have raised their game. They put on these high octane moments. They will continue to do it week in and week out. There's 10 matches in the season. This is only week 2, guys. We're excited to be continuing to bring you coverage. Support these girls. That's what matters right now. Because the women's dart scene is absolutely integral to the dart scene as a whole. And these ladies are making sure to put on a show for you guys. The least we can do is tune in. I appreciate each and every one of you that did so for tonight's great matchup.
Yeah, I can't say more than that, right? The winner of Alyssa Evans, Olivia Terry gets to play Chrissy Grimmel next week, and that will be our streaming match in the top 4 on the winner's side. So another doozy is heading your way for week 3, that's for sure. And again, no Will, so it's better. You should just show up.
Hashtag where's Wildo?
London, where we don't want him to tell us that that's where he's at. Although, Will, if you're watching, take lots of pictures and don't worry about what anyone says on Facebook. We all want to actually live vicariously through you through this experience. So the more videos and pictures that you post, the better it is for every single person that's at home. So thank you.
And thank you all again. Yeah, well, we love you all. Don't listen to him. Please keep paying me. No, it's an absolute pleasure, guys. And thank you all for tuning in. We got some great matches next week. Like Sean, just let us know here. Let us know what you're going to do. Let us know in a comment right now who you want to see, who you're excited to continue to see. And we'll be excited to see everything else that's in store for us here. But that should do it for us tonight at the WCS. My name is Nick Teixeira.
My name is Sean Green.
And we'll get right into the ending screen because I messed up the sign off. Hi, bye guys. Have a good night. See you later.